Food Safety Day, and it's a day to to discuss like what is going on around our food safety. What are we eating? How do we have sustainable like chains of food production all the way to consumption? How do we make sure we're not malnourished, even though we're like eating and overweight, or we're not is undernutrition the word?
Malnutrition.
Yes, malnutrition.
Yeah.
All of those, and to make sure that we take care of ourselves and our bodies, and of course our food and production chains. And with us in studio we have Dr. Haron Warui, who is an archaeology and food rights coordinator, talking to us about World Food Safety Day. Karibu sana, Dr. Haron.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us in studio this morning. It's a very pivotal day today, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Maybe you can even just start by telling us about the importance of the day today before we jump into this very important conversation.
Thank you very much. Before I jump into your question, I'd like to pose this to our colleagues and just say that, do we know that 1.6 million people get sick due to unsafe food in every day, each day? And these are statistics given by the World Health Organization.
Wow.
1.6 million people every day.
1.6 million.
Those are big numbers.
Every day they get sick.
Wow.
As a result of taking unsafe food. And this is on daily basis.
Wow.
In a given day.
Those are scary numbers.
Those are scary numbers, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that doesn't even account for like long-term illnesses that may, present themselves later in life. That's more of an immediate thing, but sometimes unsafe food could show up later in life and you can't even account for that, right?
And indeed,
Yeah.
more shocking is that we have got 200 deaths caused by diseases as a result of taking unsafe food. This is ranging from aspects of diarrhea to cancers. You can see.
Ooh.
Wow. Well, we have to have this conversation because we're talking about it off air. Beg your pardon. Kenyans can be reactionary, and many of us can be reactionary, where we talk about something on the day when there's a national day for it, or an international day for it. A day before, nobody cares.
Absolutely.
A week after, nobody cares.
Sure.
But why should Kenyans be concerned about the food that they eat? Why should it be a priority for Kenyans to be concerned?
Very good. I would like to look at it from two levels. That one of the key causes of unsafe food is because of the contamination from the pathogens that cause various forms of diseases and the toxins that come from this contamination. And this is along the value chain from the production, handling of that food, transportation, storage, up to consumption. How do we handle that food along that value chain? Is a source of contamination. And very important also is about the pesticide residues. We use a lot of pesticide, we use a lot of chemicals in handling some of these issues that come with insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides. I'm sure the listeners are able to differentiate that. Where herbicides, we are killing the weeds. We are talking about the insecticide, where we are killing those insects that feed on our crops, and fungicides, where we're handling the different form of diseases. So all these are sources of contamination for our food, sources of that bring or contribute to us consuming unsafe food. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you've talked about, the whole chain of food, everything from production, transport, by the time it gets to your plate, which gaps are the biggest, according to you, when it comes to, our food safety? Where do you see the biggest gaps?
Now, I would like to tell you that, I don't know whether you are aware, over 33% of the pesticides that we use are banned for use in the European Union. And this is something you need to worry because of the elements of unsafe use of these pesticides when it comes to the food we eat because of the residual effect. And them having banned from the EU, they are exported to countries that have no issues on using them, but we can understand because they are banned in these countries. Why should we be using them in Kenya, for example? And this is bound to increase in terms of usage, as most of us are intensifying. We are looking at production and not the quality of the food that we are producing for this country. So our food systems need to really, really change. And this is where the gap we have. looking at most of the food that we take is being produced by the small scale holder farmers. We are trying and really pushing as Heinrich Böll Foundation to support and create this narrative, create this network, create this movement whereby we are saying that adopting agroecological principles, coming up with regenerative practices of our life support system that include our soils, our plants, our animals, and water systems. They should be very regenerative in terms that they can support production of safe food. So this becomes one of the key gaps that we need to fill, considering that we are not talking about very intensive, but majority of our systems are extensive that they need to support it to give us safe food.
We're going to be taking a short break, and then when we come back, we still want to pick your mind on a couple of things.
Okay.
We know there's been things that have been going around in terms of eggs being unsafe.
Absolutely.
You know, there's also a feature some time back about supermarket meat being unsafe and things like those.
Yep.
So we want to pick your mind about some of these things, and also probably the potential of finding affordable avenues across our food chain for consumers. What are the possibilities? You know, we see sometimes discounts in supermarkets, but are they really discounts?
Are they really
You know,
discounts? Okay.
and things like those. We're going to be picking your mind, and we can't wait to get a little bit of these things elucidated a little bit further.
Thank you very much.
All right. Taking a short break. We're going to be back. Do put every question that you have on #MorningFix. Our call lines are a little bit of a challenge this morning. We know some of you have been trying to call in this morning. You're wondering what's going on. There's a technical problem, but we'd still love to hear from you across our social media channels. We're on Nation FM on Facebook, Nation FM KE on Twitter, and Nation FM _Kenya on Instagram.